Hey y'all, we are back and we have another grant. And this grant is an interesting one because children or youth, rather, I would say youth, are included. And normally the grants are, for individuals that's either 18 or older, 21 or older. This one, you can be as young as 14, but you have to be that age, so 14 through 30, until December. So December of this year. So if you have a 13-year-old that's getting ready to turn 14 before the end of the year, they will be eligible. But before we get into the grants, as always, if you get anything of value from the video, if you can like, share, subscribe, comment. Sharing is caring, and that is the best way for this algorithm, as well as I think liking is secondary. As I always discuss, I have a Patreon. Patreon has different grants that I'm not able to put out. Some of them will either have a tight turnaround time or it's just too much to pack into these videos, which I prefer to be as short as possible. I've posted like $100,000 grants in there. There was one that was given up to $3 million. So what I'm going to do quickly, share this screen, show you the Discord, just so you can have an idea of what you would be signing up for if you do choose to join, and is connected to the Discord. And I also have documents in there. And whenever I get new documents, I put them in there. So right now, there is a sample business plan. There is a sample pitch deck. There's actually now 2 different articles associated with Airbnb. So if a host checklist, things to think about, and then also building passive income with Airbnb. So this is for individuals that are ready to get into the business. You don't necessarily know where to start. I think this will be a good starting point. And then of course, there's so many people that offer courses, but I think before taking a course, you should have some type of foundational knowledge so you can be better prepared to, number one, get your money's worth, but B, what's the word? You'll be in a better position to ask the right questions, right? Especially if it's a live course versus if it's pre-recorded, that's a little bit different. But then also if you're interested in drop shipping, that's an option as well. And there's just different channels. There's a general channel where I just discuss things. I talk about different YouTube videos that are going to come up. Individuals can request specific grant research depending on their states. Then we have the for-profit, which in that one, that's going to be within the US for-profit, because then I have a separate station, which is international. So this is going to be individuals that are outside of the US. There will obviously be some within international that's going to overlap for if you're in the US or if you're outside of the US. There are nonprofits. So if you're a nonprofit and you're looking for grants, and then, as I said earlier, state specific. So these will be a little bit more limited based on your location. And then also accelerators, which is more of those cohorts where it's not necessarily a grant dollar amount tied to it, but you get to network, right? So that's that. And then I also want to remind everyone that there is a small business grant playlist on the channel. Right now, there's approximately 17 videos, but essentially any video that I post, I then put it into that playlist so you don't have to try to fumble through the channel and figure out like where are all the grants if you're only here for grants, versus there are different playlists for like marketing. There's a playlist for building your credit. There's a playlist for taxes for small businesses. So I'm trying to categorize things. And the one thing I want to add, because I do get several questions about grants, like let's say by the time you're looking at this video, the grant application deadline has passed. There's still going to be valuable information within the video to help you then prepare for the next grant, because in my videos, I walk through the grant. I don't just tell you, here's the link and go apply. I do that inside of the Patreon because I wanted to kind of balance it out, right? There's individuals that like the walkthroughs. There's individuals that just like, tell me where the money's at so I can go and find it. So I balance those two out. But then also, like I said, with the Discord, it's well over 10 or $15 million located just inside of there, mixed in, you know, individual state, etc. So pay attention to all of the videos, and then also not just the fact that there's going to be valuable information. A lot of these grants are offered either annually or quarterly. So you get to this video, and I know this is offered annually because they offered it last year. You can go and see the winners from last year. So this is something, whereas if you've missed the deadline or if you're not quite ready, you can go to their website and look at the previous winners. You can listen to this video and decide, you know, okay, these are some of the things that I want to implement over the next year if I want to go into one of these categories, or this content will be helpful for a grant that I'm applying for on my own that's not even on the channel. So before I move forward, I'm just going to put the Patreon in the chat. I'm going to put my website as well, because I do offer consultation services via my website. My email address is always going to be located in the description. Also, someone has started a fraudulent account. I'm going to mention this as many times as I remember to mention it on the video. And that account is moneytimewithebonydion@gmail.com. That is not me. I don't have a Gmail account attached to Moneytime. So if an individual reaches out to you, that's not me. I always tell people to do their due diligence. So always ask a lot of questions. But if you're listening to this video, you should be only trying to contact me via the description box. The individual is responding to comments. So if somebody asks a question, they will say, oh, reach out to her directly. And then they'll add this email address that's not associated with me. So always do your due diligence. And I'm not going to ask you for $500 to apply for a grant for you and then guarantee you that you're going to get the grant, because only the guarantor, which is the person that's creating the grant, so the sponsor, can guarantee you that you're going to get a grant. So if you're working with anyone that's saying, I guarantee that you're going to get the grant, and they are not the sponsor, run. Because if I had a grant, let's say, because that's the goal. That's my end goal, is to be able to offer a grant. So I'm offering a grant for $500. I can say to you, I guarantee you, if you give me X, Y, and Z, you'll get the grant, because it's my money and I have the right to choose what to do with that money. However, nobody would ever do that, because then why would people want to apply for those grants if it's essentially a scam? I feel like that's a scam too, right? If I'm having people apply and then I already know that I've earmarked it for someone else. So let me put this in the chat, and then we're going to get into this grant. Hey, Felicia, how are you? Thanks for watching. All right. All right, so Patreon, if you are interested in that, and then my website is in the chat, but it'll also be in the description box. And completely forgot, before I go into this, I posted a video about a week ago about a rent-to-own program and how that program works. High level, because you got to watch the video for the details. High level is you go find a house that you like. They will pay cash for that home, and then you will rent it from them for 1 to 2 years, depending on when you're ready to then go and try to get your own mortgage. And then you essentially get to pick out your dream home. So it's not somebody's offering a rent to own and you have to want the place. This is you working with a realtor. You all are going to go shopping for the house, and then that offer is going to be cash. And then you can also do some type of additions and edits for the house as well. So you don't have to you don't feel like a renter. If you want to change the paint, you can change the paint. If you want to do a new kitchen, you can do a new kitchen, but just be mindful that you're renting it. So check out that video as well. Now, let's get into the requirements of this one. So there are going to be 8 different categories, and then there's a 9th bonus one for business of the year. But the 8 categories that you would want to try to fall into. The first one is the one that I mentioned at the beginning, which is young entrepreneur. So with the young entrepreneur category, you have to be from the ages of 14 years old to 30, and you have to have, your business has had to have like an impact, right? And with that impact, there has to be some type of achievement attached to your business. It doesn't say what type of achievement, it just says outstanding achievement. So that's category number 1. The second category that you can fall into is emerging business. In emerging business, you must be in business no more than 3 years. So 1 to 3 years is for emerging. And then also you have to have less than 25 employees for all of those years. And also the 1 year requirement is throughout all categories, but this one is you must be in business for at least 1 year for all of these categories. The third category is if your business is a green or sustainable business. That means that it's some type of impact, positive, not negative, a positive impact on the environment. So it could be, I've seen a lot of laundry, eco-friendly containers, recyclable, compostable things. So it could be something like that, but it has to be something that positively affects the environment. The next one is if you're a minority-owned business, and that business has to be 51% owned by a minority, but then also daily operations and management has to be done by a minority individual as well. Then we have the next category, LGBTQ, same as the other one, 50% ownership, but then management. So the daily operations of that business, so they have a voice essentially in how that business is ran, must be LGBTQ. Veteran owned, same, 51%, and then a veteran must be a part of the daily management and operations of that business. The next category, woman-owned business, 51%, and then daily operations and management. So, and then the final one, which is the 8th category, is community support and leadership. So this is someone that has leadership in that community. There's community engagement, and then that business assists the needs of the community. So with all of these categories, specifically the ones where it's minority or woman-owned, veteran-owned, LGBTQ, all of those, what they're trying to make sure is that you don't then have somebody that's considered the majority, then partner with a minority, give them 51%, but they have no decision-making capabilities attached to that business. So again, if you're a business out there that is 51% minority owned, and there's somebody, I use the word leadership, they're in a leadership position in your company, then you will be eligible to apply for that. So that's the different categories, but then the bonus category is going to be business of the year. And business of the year is going to be determined, is going to be within those categories and all the applications that they receive. The rest of the requirements that goes across all 8 of those categories, I've already mentioned. You must be in business for at least a year. So 1 year, you must be in business. You have to be a resident of the United States. You have to have less than 250 employees or less than $20 million in gross revenue. So either or. So you could have, it sounded like you can have more, you can make more. No. You can make $19 million and have more than 250 employees because it's either or you could have less than 200, I just said that, didn't I? You could have more than 200, if you have more than 250 employees, as long as you have less than 20 million. And then if you have more than 20 million, you can't have more than 250 employees. I hope I said that correctly because it got twisted in my head because they used the word or instead of and. Just know that you don't have to have less than 250 employees and make less than 20 million. But if I'm making $19 million, y'all, I mean, $25,000 is a lot, but I don't know if I would be doing this application, but that's how the rich stay rich. They grab that easy money out there, right? The deadline, for 2021 and 2022. So the last 2 years, if you've been in business for more than that 1 year mark, you must meet one of those two requirements. The deadline is Friday, July the 8th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this Friday is the deadline. The application is pretty easy, but make sure that you do not miss the deadline. So this is how it's going to work. First round, they do not mention how many individuals they're going to select from eligible applicants. So I don't know, let's say it's 100. The second round, there's going to be 27 semifinalists. And with the 27 semifinalists, how that is working is they're going to pull 3 from each category. So there's 8 categories. So that gives you 24. And then there are 3 that's going to be in that category of small business of the year, which gets us to that 27. So each category, 3 people based on eligibility requirements and the fact that they met the deadline. This application does allow you to go back and edit, update, delete, etc. up until this Friday, July 8th at 11:59. So a lot of them you would submit and you can't go back and change it. So this is one, like I said, you got some time to do some edits. And again, if you've been following the channel, a lot of the questions they're going to ask you, you would already have the answer to if you've been preparing those elevator pitches so you can more quickly apply for these grants. And then the finalists, there's going to be a finalist for each category. So there's going to be 8 finalists, so 1 per category. Then we're going to have that small business of the year. So that gives you 9. The prizes for that. So if you are within the 8, you're going to get an annual membership to the U.S. Chambers. So that's valued at $250. Then you're also going to get an article. So you're going to get published and they're going to interview you and your company and all of that. You're going to make it to they're having a conference, but the conference is virtual. So again, but if you make it to the conference and you're mentioned in this room of, I don't know how many people are going to be watching, I'm pretty sure they're probably going to have some type of booklet that they're going to send out with the companies and some type of bio. That type of exposure puts you out there to then connect with other people. And then if you are the small business of the year, your grand prize is that $25,000 plus the annual membership, and you get a promotional video as well as a featured article. Now, as I've said in multiple videos, sometimes it is not about the money, because if you give me $25,000 and I don't know what to do with that $25,000, it's a waste of $25,000. But if you put me in a room with a mentor that can show me how to be prepared when I do get that $25,000, that's going to be more valuable than the $25,000 without that mentorship and without being able to network, right? You network to network. And I think it is critical sometimes for business owners to recognize the importance of that piece of getting your name out there, attending networking event, applying for some of these accelerator programs, in addition to applying for grants. However, I think, because I've participated in a lot of leadership programs, a lot of different cohorts, and I mean, you might get a minimum dollar amount, $25,000 versus you might get $1,500 or $2,000, etc. However, the impact on my business and the impact on me as an individual to be in a room of other leaders and or individuals that I consider that I can learn from, grow from, etc., has assisted me with being able to grow my business the way that I'm currently growing it. And then also being able to just show up differently, more professionally, more confident, as they say, right? Confident, not cocky, all of that. So definitely try to get some of these cohorts and mentorship. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull up the grant and we're going to walk through it. We can't walk through all 8 categories because each category is a different application. They do, however, allow you to enter 2 different categories. So if you decide that you want to enter both as a woman-owned business and a minority-owned business, or you want to do the community impact plus veteran, you got 2 bites of the apple, which is a good thing. One second, I'm gonna read the questions. Thanks, I really appreciate that, Miss Felicia. Is the rent-to-own program available in Georgia? So, Miss Ariel, I list the states. There are several states that I list inside of the video, and I don't want to misspeak as far as where the opportunities lie. I don't remember if I mentioned Georgia, but I think there was at least 15 states that were mentioned, and I only can remember a few of them right now. So this grant, can you do the minority-owned one? Sure. Actually, Felicia, that's the one that I have up. Originally, I went through it and I did it as the young entrepreneur, and I just came back and changed it to minority. So that's the one we're going to do. So this is called the Dream Big Award, and it is sponsored by the U.S. Chamber as well as MetLife. And MetLife is only sponsoring the minority-owned business category. So we're going to go through that one, talk through some of the things that they might be asking. And then if there's enough time, depending on how long the video is going, we can quickly, like when I say quickly, I'm just going to click through a secondary category. But what I want to show you is if you decide that you want to do the 2, and I don't know why you wouldn't, you don't have to redo everything. So if you go back to your My Entries page, there's this option to copy. So you click on that, you're going to hit copy. And then that way it will copy everything from your first application. And then you can go in and change things that you might need to change or want to change. So here we are, the beginning of the application. And then also you have to be a for-profit. You cannot be a nonprofit for this one. So the minority-owned category, it recognizes minority-owned small business that has attained outstanding business achievement and exemplifies the significant contributions made by minority-owned businesses in the country. And then we already talked about the requirements. And then the business must also have management and daily operations. We talked about that as well as at least 1 U.S. resident of a minority group. So we talked about all that. And then I didn't have to answer all the questions. A few of them they made me answer in order to go to next, but then after that, you can just continue through. Here's just general questions. How did you hear about it? Social media. Is your business currently a U.S. Chamber of Commerce member? It is not. And $250, I would say join is going to be a write-off as, you know, at the end of the year. Also, if you get this $25,000, you will have to get a W-9 and you will have to claim that money, because I know some people want to get this money knowing that Uncle Sam is coming. Pay the man, because the end goal is for your business to have to pay taxes, because if you're paying taxes, that means that you made a larger profit, which then puts you in the category of being able to get different loans with low interest rates and, you know, all of the, oh, get a car in your business name. It ain't that easy. But if you're showing profit each year, yes, you're definitely in a better position to purchase things in your business name versus your personal. So, and then is your business a member of a local or state chamber of commerce? My answer is no. Which industry are you in? So you just select from here. Other services, it can be public administration, but here you can do real estate and leasing. Remember the last couple of grants I posted, you could not have your primary source of income come from renting and or real estate. So this is a bonus. Transportation, so individuals that's in the trucking industry, because I get that question a lot. And let me make this quick comment about grants, because the common question I get is, are there any grants for? And fill in a blank for whatever category your business is in. Grants are typically not category specific unless they say grant for the restaurant industry or grants for the fashion industry. Something like this is not pegging you into a category. So the category doesn't matter. If you meet their other requirements, whether it's minority, community impact, veteran, any of these categories that they're asking for, you can apply. So you don't have to say, and then remember, worst case is you don't get the grant, but 9 times out of 10, a grant that I post is not industry specific. Whereas if you are only in the restaurant business, I honestly wouldn't even post a grant that's only for one industry, just because these videos are to mainly like capture more individuals and more different businesses. Those types of grants will be inside of the Discord or Patreon. Even the construction industry, so GCs, subcontractors, independent contractors, etc. Obviously, you can be an independent contractor and still have your own business. Number of full-time employees, date you were established. You must be 1 year old as of March 21st of this year. Part-time, if you have that, they want your phone number, website, address, city, state, zip code, your mission statement. Now, what I will say about this grant, they give you more words. You get 800 words. And we've talked about a mission statement. Your mission statement can be brief. Mine is pretty concise, and it could be longer. My thing is, when I think of mission, vision, values, it's all about the elevator. However, somebody else might be differently. I'm going to pull up, which is what I've done in the past. I'll pull up my site, and then we'll go to the mission, vision, value. So here, my mission, pretty straightforward: to build and grow a business's longevity by creating generational wealth for all. So my ultimate goal is to create generational wealth for all, right? So if mine was specific and it said to create generational wealth for marginalized individuals or marginalized communities or individuals impacted by, right? That's going to put me back into this category of minority owned, and then also recognizing the importance of changing the trajectory and changing the narrative for those types of communities. Your logo, simple. And then owner, I said owner, because owner and founder together, I don't know why that happened. Owner, your first name, last name, and then your title and your email. Oh, well then, Miss Felicia, I think if it were I and you got all three, I would at a minimum pick veteran, because a lot of people are going to probably pick minority, right? I don't think it's going to be that. I think it'll be less competitive as far as being a veteran, but that's my opinion. I don't know how many people are applying. I just think about grants, and it's a rarity that there's some that's specific to veterans as far as a category. And then your gross revenue for 2020. And then the same thing, full-time employees, part-time employees, and then the same thing for 2021. So if you have an accountant or if you're using QuickBooks, whatever, you should be able to pull that information. And then they do want a copy of your tax return or a letter that states revenue for 2021 and 2020, signed by both the owner, president, CEO, whatever, and your accountant. So when I think about this, I think about being equitable, because as I've said, a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, I'm going to say that we will have a lot of stuff together, but those financials, it is a struggle, right? So even with this, they're recognizing the fact that we don't want someone to not be able to apply because they don't have their tax return. But what we do want, we want you to send us a letter signed by yourself and also signed by your accountant, essentially, truthfully saying that these are our numbers. And what I would say is, between now and, I forgot to tell y'all, they are going to announce the finalists in October. So but I'm assuming they would have to reach out to people in between to say you're a semi-finalist, because it just makes sense. But there weren't any other dates except for that October date that they're going to announce the finalists. So I would be working on this if you don't have this, but we're in July. So if you started your business last March, technically you could not have your taxes if you filed for an extension. So that's also, if you have an extension, I would attach that even if they're not asking for it, the extension and then the letter if you don't have this 1120 tax return they're asking for. All right, so here we go. Okay. You're welcome, Ariel. So tell us about your business. Here you're going to describe the business, including but not limited to its history, number of years in business, products and or services offered. Consider including what makes your business unique, what about your business makes you proud, and then what awards and recognitions your business has received and to what you attribute the success of your business. Now, that's a lot of questions for 800 words. So they really want you to be concise, be impactful, but then also bring them into the conversation. So it's pretty easy to describe whatever your business is. And your business could be a vegan skincare line, and it could be one that focuses on minority skin tones. We know there are several companies that might have 500 different shades, but there could probably be 20 to 30 plus shades that's just for individuals that are darker complected. Because even for myself, if I do makeup, because if you see me in public, I'm not a makeup girl, but my foundation, I have to mix like 2 different wands to catch my shade. I can't just go pick up a bottle and then it's going to immediately match it. But then if you're thinking about vegan, cruelty-free, it could be something where, let's say we wanted to go into the sustainable category. So you have your vegan, cruelty-free foundation. Instead of it coming in like a glass bottle, it comes in like this refillable plastic container. So now you're getting monthly pouches, and then you squeeze that into a bottle. I don't know if this exists or not, and I'm literally just thinking off the top of my head. So if you want to do that idea, it might work. So that's something to think about. So, right, so now you got your 2 categories, your minority owned, right? On top of, now you've created this sustainable business as well, as far as the environment and throwing away less glass, because my foundation is in like a glass bottle or whatever. So I'm pretty sure a bunch of those is not going to be good for the environment. And then think about the history, but also when they say including but not limited to, they're saying, yes, you can tell us these things, but there's other things that you might want to share as well. So definitely think outside of these questions. Products and services, we kind of touched on that. What makes your business unique? And I would say if I was thinking about a skincare line, what would make it unique is the fact that we're not trying to do this all-inclusive 1 through 500. We are literally focusing on darker complected individuals, minority skin tones, whatever it is. So therefore, you could have, like I said, 50 to 100 shades that's just for darker skin tones. Or, which I've seen these little droplet-like foundations where you put drops in it and the shade gets to your shade. So that's something too. Same thing. Now you got less shades. You got this one bottle, and then these drops will get darker and darker and darker. And that's going to really help the environment because you don't have to do 100 bottles, right? You're just shipping out this one bottle. And then what makes you proud about the business? So it depends. It could be, let's say you have a huge social media presence, and it could be what makes you proud is the impact that you're having on young girls, or the impact that you're having on individuals that struggle to find their perfect match, and the videos that they send in and telling you how it's lifted their spirits or it made them more confident, or any of those things can be what makes you proud. But it could be that you're proud because, as I've said over and over again on the channels, I grew up in a super poor area. I grew up in Walnut Park, if you're from St. Louis. So for me, it could be that I say this because based off of society always says, you know, don't let your neighborhood define you, or your neighborhood doesn't really dictate, or this person is a product of their environment. But when they say product of their environments, it's always connotating something negative. But in fact, I am happy to be a product of my environments because it gave me the grit to be able to do what I'm doing. And also, it then allows me to show others that just because you started here, you don't necessarily have to end there. So it could just be, I'm proud that I was able to start a business growing up with, the only person in my family to further their education and figure out college and all of these things. So essentially a fish out of water, and I was still able to get to this point. It doesn't have to be, we made a bunch of money or any of those things. It could be bringing in that personal element of who you are, because again, they want to be able to support you. People support people, they never support businesses. I don't care what your business is going to be the person behind that business that people are going to support, which is why when you think about social media influencers, you're purchasing items because you want to support that person. So they definitely want to know who you are as an individual. And then if you've gotten any awards or recognitions, and it could be local, it could be from your school. It doesn't have to be, I got this huge award. I mean, I've received several small awards, if you compare them to like other awards that people are getting from the college that I went to, from students, from people that I've mentored. So definitely think about that. Don't discredit yourself because it's not, and I don't even know what a large award would be because I don't have none of them. And I'm okay with that because I know who I am and where my heart lies. So think about that for that question. And then describe mission and goals of your business. Again, we talked about the mission statement. You got to know what your goals are. What is your trajectory? What is the end goal, right? If the goal is to sell the business, but don't just say that's the only part, right? Maybe your goal is to build capacity. Maybe your goal is to create a mentorship program. Maybe your goal is to then help teenagers start their own business. I don't know what your end goal is going to be or what your current goals are with your company. It could be your goal is to have more publicity. The goal could be to make it where your accomplishments become the norm for society. And it's not this, she was the first or he was the first. It's, oh, that's normal for that to happen, right? Instead of this shocker of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this person did this, or oh my gosh, like, hooray, like a minority from a disadvantaged community succeeded, right? Changing that narrative through whatever your business is can be a goal. And then your management philosophy and how it has helped to address business challenges. Provide details of innovative and creative strategies used to improve your business, including but not limited to marketing, product development, talent solutions, company culture examples. So this is more about the leadership style. So whether it's, leading by example or creating, as they call, psychological safety with your team. And with that, it's more of like, folks feel comfortable and they trust you. And because of that, they're going to show up. How do you keep people engaged? Engaged doesn't necessarily just have to be with staff, right? Like they said with marketing. So if you're marketing, what are your marketing goals, strategies, etc.? And how do you keep that customer engaged? Because that's some of the things that they're going to look for as well. So if you have community engagement, how do you retain that? So think about that as well. And then describe your business path to success. So include how you overcame any obstacles to attain outstanding business achievement and why you believe diversity, equity, and inclusion inside and outside the workplace should be a priority for the business community. So with this, you want to think about, first and foremost, like genuinely, why is it important to you? So when I personally think about diversity, I believe that diversity of opinion is necessary in order for any business to be successful, but then for any community to be successful as well. Because again, I think about how I was raised. I did not see someone that didn't look like me until I joined the DSEC program. So for me, there was no diversity of thought, opinion, etc. I'm in the hood, it's drive-by shootings. Like, I don't have time to worry about what an avocado is, right? Just things like that, where today I'm eating avocados, but I didn't have that as a kid. Like, we had ramen noodles and SpaghettiOs. Like, that's what we were eating. So just those types of things of, why does diversity matter? It can't just be that I want to see somebody that looks like me, because that's the easy part. I want to see somebody that looks like me, that's not only at the table, but get to speak at the table, right? So they have a voice, they have an opinion. So that's, again, if you go back to this management piece, that's why they want to make sure that somebody that is in these categories, they have a voice at that company. Because I've been at companies where it was clear that I was at the table because our client wanted diversity, but I did not have a voice in any part of that project. I was literally in that seat in order to get the deal closed. Now, if I'm at the table, it's because you want what's inside of my head, right? You value my thoughts, you value all of those things. And until that happens, it doesn't matter to be diverse. It needs to have that equitable space, and it needs to be inclusive. So I always say diversity is low hanging. This is the outside, how old I am, what color I am, all of that. We can throw a diverse party easy, right? And they always say, like, diversity is being invited to the party, but inclusion is being asked to dance. So always make sure that you're distinguishing between the two. So what I'm going to do is, because there are 7 criteria. One second. Hey, Miss Scorpio love. I dated a Scorpio, and I'm just going to put a pin right there. But let's say I have a business that has been in services. Could you help? Walk me through. So this video, I'm literally walking through the different categories. So I know you just joined, but if you like start back from the beginning, we're walking through the minority category. I do offer services. My website is longevity, B as in boy, C as in cat.com. If you wanted to have some one-on-one time, I can definitely assist with this grant or other grants. Just let me know. The 7 criteria. So we're almost through with this one, but I wanted to circle back because you need to know these 7 pieces that you're going to be judged on. And the reason that it triggered me is because we started talking through some of them. So the first one is going to be your business growth and performance. So where was your business, last year? Or if you've been in business for a couple of years, then you can say, I went from 1 employee to 5, or I went from $100 in gross revenue to 5,000. So whatever that is, and it doesn't always have to be numbers with data. It could be the impact on your community, could be a growth, right? It could be a lot of those other things that's not necessarily just financial. Or I had a client database of 100 and now I have 1,000. So things like that to think about. Your business strategies, that's something that they're going to look at too. So again, that's why they started asking that question about marketing and community engagement. Like, what is your strategy to grow your business? Community engagement and relations. Most grants I post, y'all, you got to get in your community, because people cannot support you if they don't know who you are and if they cannot connect with you on an individual level. So remember, community engagement, in my opinion, it's the best non-financial marketing strategy, because it is just sweat equity. So it's your time. So when I go to networking events and I have my flyers, hey, follow me on YouTube and etc. Or if I'm posting all over Facebook, that's free to me except for my time, right? It's still a cost associated with my time, but I would rather give my sweat equity so people can connect to me as an individual and want to support me, Ebony the person, versus me trying to just pay for a Facebook ad and hope that folks will then decide to support my business. Corporate citizenship. So corporate citizenship is, how do you partner with other nonprofits? Do you give back to your community? Do you do any charitable donations? Do you have an employee like volunteer program? So I worked at a firm, and most large firms will have this volunteer program. And how it works is, I forget the number of pro bono hours per year, but they still pay you for it. So if I did 250 pro bono hours of, legal work in a community or with individuals that otherwise couldn't afford it, they would still pay me my salary for that time. So that's like a program that you can offer to your staff, but then it has an impact on the community. I know with some nonprofits, because I worked at nonprofits as well. So I've worked at large corporate for-profit and then nonprofit where you do like 10 jobs in one. With that, so something like, let's say something was dear to my heart and I decided I wanted to take a day off from work to volunteer. So it could be Habitat for Humanity that I decide that I want to go try and help and build a house. They would give us 1 year per year, child help us, 1 day per year. So you would get 1 day per year and you could take off and go volunteer and they will pay you to do that. So that's something when they're talking about your corporate citizenship and then how you allow your staff to then get inside of the community. Customer relations, so acquisition, you should know the acquisition costs for your customer. So thinking about not only do they want to know the acquisition, so that's one thing, but then they also want to know customer relations, which is the retention. And then the final thing, which is the seventh thing that they're going to judge you on, is innovation. So how innovative is your business? So earlier we discussed, which it might exist, I don't know. But like I said, if you had a makeup and it's just one bottle and you get some drops in the color, you just keep putting drops in there until it matches your shade. But then instead of buying a new bottle, you get like a monthly or bi-monthly little pouch of makeup that's you can squeeze it into this recyclable, reusable, whatever, environment friendly container, whereas you're saving the environment, plus people are able to get the right complexion without, like, I have to buy 2 different foundations to get the right complexion for myself. And then also, if you are the winner or any of the semifinalists, they'll want a photo of your business and then you'll put a video together as well. So that's the final stuff for that. Now back to finishing this up. So additional context on your business approach to customer and customer service. What innovative strategies have you used for recruiting, retaining, and/or rewarding your customers? So social media advertising, maybe they get a discount code, if they're a return client. I know they give out these codes for new clients, but what about returning clients? We should get some type of discount as well. Loyalty program, you can earn points, coupons, discount, direct mail, referral program. We give you a percentage off. Sponsored story links, we do that. So I know I sell on Poshmark, and with Poshmark, if you have so many followers and you post stories, they will pay you. They might give you but it's Posh credits. It's not real cash. When they first started the program, it was cash. And I made a lot of money. I was able, because I needed a new HVAC for my house. And the money that I made on Poshmark, I was able to then pay for that. But then they say, oh, wait, we're giving out too much money. So now they give you credits. But still, if you want to buy a luxury item at a discounted price and you got $500 in Posh credits, you can get a $700 item for $200. So things like that to think about as far as being creative, because not only do they get publicity on somebody that might have 100,000 Instagram followers, you're also getting this credit, and you probably would shop on Poshmark anyways if you're already there selling. Describe your business's customer relation strategies and benefits. Provide examples of how you have used some of the innovative strategies selected above to acquire and attain. So remember, whatever you check up here, you need to then discuss it here. So if let's say we talk about social media advertising, and then what are your strategies? So with advertising, think about, if you have not heard of Fashion Nova and you're on social media, you are under a rock, okay? I don't have nothing from Fashion Nova right now. However, when you think about their marketing strategy, what do? They use influencers, in hundreds of them. And from there, their strategy is, let's sell you a lifestyle. Let's let you know that this person that you know is making millions of dollars a year is feeling like they're wearing something luxurious, and they might have spent, I don't know, $20 or $30, I think it's like a price point for Fashion Nova. So what they're doing is they are selling you a lifestyle through individuals that are actually living that lifestyle. That is their strategy, because you're going to feel like $1 million if you put on the same outfit that you saw a millionaire posted in. Not thinking about the fact that they probably just put it on to take the picture so they can get their money, and then they move along and put on their designer stuff, right? But that is their strategy, to sell you this lifestyle. But their target market would be individuals that can't currently afford the lifestyle that they're following. And then how do you attain your customers? I mean, again, if you've purchased anything from Fashion Nova, I mean, I've went on their website before, didn't purchase a thing. And then I had messages in Messenger on Facebook of them contacting me like, oh, did you forget this? And oh, let us give you 50% off. And just imagine if you are a customer. So that's their strategy to attain you. They're reaching you wherever you're at. They're not just sending you the abandoned cart email. If you've clicked on them somehow through Facebook, Instagram, they in your DMs. So that's more of like, wait a minute, how did they? And I know it's automated, right? But when that stuff was first happening and we didn't know about automation and all of this, we could have believed that it was a real person emailing us in our DM. So that's, again, that personalization of things and you feeling included in that Fashion Nova lifestyle, that you then will continue to shop with them. And then we've already talked about corporate citizen in your community, things that you might do, you know, the volunteer program, partnering with a nonprofit. And then this is a similar question. Describe how your business is involved with other organizations, trade associations, local and national advocacy groups, etc. So if you are a part of, anything within your community. So for example, I'm a part of St. Louis Association of Realtors, I previously was a part of Mound City Bar Association, which is for Black lawyers in St. Louis. So thinking about any of that type of community engagement that you have, it could be a networking group, because a lot of local groups there, and I can't remember the name of it, but in St. Louis, we had this networking group where probably 500 plus individuals from the real estate community would show up every single month. So you would have mortgage brokers, you would have general contractors, subcontractors, lawyers, accountants, plumbers, inspectors, all of these people in one room. So thinking about that, and then how you can give back, and then what individuals would do, they would do presentations, different presentations every month. So I could have did a presentation on protecting your legal entity. I've done presentations with subcontractors explaining how to work with general contractors and understanding, this is high level, prime contract versus subcontractor, flow down clauses, all of those things. So that's giving back to that community, because I was not getting paid to do those types of presentations, but I was a part of this community where I was able to create that impact for individuals that probably wasn't in a space, especially with subcontractors, MBE, WBEs, wasn't in a space to, at the time, afford my services. But then when they would reach out because they will remember me. And then we have our attachments. So this could be anything: business plan, statement of goals, letters of recommendation, customer review, video, etc. Now, because I'm like, let me catch myself before I say this. I would attach things that will make an impact on your application. Do not throw the kitchen sink at these folks. Your business plan, you should have a business plan. And there is a sample business plan in the Discord if that is something that you're interested in. I put the link to the Patreon in the chat. It'll be in the description box as well. And it supports the channel. If you love my videos, support the channel, even if it's for a month or two. Statement of goals. If you can get some letter of recommendations from people that are impactful in your community, I would definitely do that. Whether it's, from a politician, right? If that's somebody that's saying if you have different wards, I don't know if every state call them wards or what they're called, but thinking about that, where it's somebody locally that can vouch for your impact on the community and what your business has done, or it could be a client, right? It could be a screenshot. If you have a bunch of reviews on your website, you can just send them the direct link to reviews, not just one review. If it's pages, send them that. If you have reviews on Google, send them that. If they're allowing you to do a video, I would do a video, but I would not make my video longer than 2 minutes because they're probably going to have thousands of applicants. And there wasn't any restrictions as far as how long the video could be. So I would definitely, especially if you've made a previous video already for the other grants that I've posted, I would definitely go ahead and give them that. But I think if I was going to say what's going to be the most impactful, business plan, customer reviews, letters of recommendation. And your customer reviews and letters of recommendation can be X'd out if you do a 2-minute video of just like snippets of people from the community saying like, my name is Ebony and I'm an attorney and I've worked with this company for the past 2 years and they are, right? So just having a bunch of those video reviews in that 2-minute span can be good as well. So just think about that. But again, don't give them too much where they have to start putting stuff together and figuring out like, why should this person be selected? It needs to be straight to the point, impactful. It's kind of like listening to a song. If the first couple beats and first couple words you're not liking, you're going to go to the next one. So just make sure, again, that you're strategizing with whatever you're selecting. Well, that's the end of this one. And I don't know how long this video is, but I feel like it is a little bit longer than the other ones. So I don't want to go through a second one. But as I said, when you go back to your entries, which I don't have one, you can then, there we go. So you can then copy. So now what it has done is whatever I had in here, which wasn't much, they've copied it here. So then I would be able to start from where I left off at. You see how the same category is there. And then if I would have completed some of this information, it would have already been completed for me. And the only thing I would need to do is change probably a few of these words. So if you have gotten anything of value, beginning, middle, end, like, share, comment, all of that. Join the Patreon Discord if you are interested. I'm going to wait a couple seconds to make sure there's no other questions, but please, please, please make sure that you check out the small business grant playlist on this channel because there are several other grants listed. My goal is to post 2 more grants this week, if not 1, because I will be traveling for a week. So therefore, I will not be posting any videos. So I want to make sure that I have at least a couple of videos that will take me through that week. I think the next one that I have on the list doesn't expire until the end of July. There's one that doesn't expire until the middle of August. And I think one, the end of this year, is kind of like what I'm trying to get through. But then also, if you all can leave me a comment of other videos that you would like to see, because I'm going to try to, I am going to start doing videos on other things like, I don't know, top contracts for LLC or LLC versus independent contractor versus employee. I want to do more of like some of the lawyer stuff, right? But I want to know, what would you like to hear about? What videos would you like to see? And I will start to work on those and try to do pre-recorded versus live videos and see how that works. I don't see anything. So you all enjoy the rest of your day. Remember, sharing is caring. And don't forget to check out the other videos. See y'all next time.